Sometimes distance is more powerful than confrontation. There comes a point in every toxic dynamic where confrontation stops working. The arguments repeat themselves. The explanations become exhausting. The emotional energy drains away, yet nothing changes. Most people are taught that problems are solved through direct conflict, emotional expression, or forcing accountability. But human psychology doesn't always respond to pressure the way people expect. In many situations, distance becomes more psychologically disruptive than confrontation ever could. When someone is constantly available, emotionally reactive, or predictable, people adapt to their presence. Attention becomes expected instead of appreciated. Emotional reactions become entertainment instead of impact. This is why many manipulative individuals thrive during confrontation. Conflict still gives them access, validation, and emotional control. Your anger proves it can still affect you. Distance changes the equation completely. Silence creates uncertainty. Withdrawal interrupts emotional patterns. Absence removes predictability. And psychologically, uncertainty often affects people more deeply than direct resistance. When access disappears, people are forced to confront the value of what they took for granted. This principle applies everywhere: workplaces, relationships, friendships, social circles, and power dynamics. Some people only understand consequences when emotional access is removed. Others only recognize your value after your attention is no longer available. Distance is not weakness. It is strategic emotional detachment. It is the refusal to keep participating in cycles designed to drain you. In many cases, it becomes the strongest form of communication because it forces people to experience your absence instead of hearing your words. And ironically, the less energy you spend trying to control people, the more psychological control you regain over yourself. Sometimes the strongest response is not escalation. It's disengagement. The most powerful person in the room is often the one who stopped reacting. Not the loudest, not the angriest, not the one demanding attention. The one who quietly removed their energy. Because sometimes, distance is more powerful than confrontation. Most people believe power comes from confrontation. Fighting back, arguing harder, explaining yourself louder. But psychology tells a different story. Some people don't fear your anger. They feed on it. Your reactions give them attention. Your explanations give them control. Your emotional energy gives them access. And the moment you stop giving them that access, everything changes. Because absence creates something confrontation never can: uncertainty. Here's the truth most people learn too late. Confrontation only works when the other person values accountability. But manipulative people don't think like that. They think in terms of control. If they can make you emotional, they know they still affect you. If they can trigger you, they know they still occupy space in your mind. This is why some people smile during arguments. Because your reaction is proof of influence. Distance creates psychological tension. Human beings are deeply affected by uncertainty. When people become used to your attention, your availability becomes predictable. And predictable things lose psychological value. But the moment access disappears, the human mind starts asking questions. Why did they pull away? Are they done with me? Did I lose control? Do they no longer care? Silence forces reflection. Confrontation usually creates resistance. And here's the dangerous part. The people who ignored your value the most are often the first to notice your absence. Imagine someone in a workplace, always available, always helping, always replying instantly. At first, everyone appreciates them. Then slowly, respect disappears. Their kindness becomes expected. Their effort becomes invisible. People interrupt them, ignore them, use them. So they try confrontation. They explain their frustration. They express how exhausted they feel. But nothing changes. Why? Because emotionally available people are often seen as permanently accessible. Then one day, they stop. Fewer replies. Less availability. Less emotional access. Suddenly people notice. Suddenly people ask questions. Suddenly their presence has value again. Because people often recognize importance only after they experience absence. Distance is not weakness. It is controlled energy. It is emotional discipline. It is the ability to stop feeding unhealthy dynamics. Weak people need constant reactions. Powerful people understand restraint. Not every battle deserves your attention. Not every insult deserves your energy. And not every person deserves unlimited access to you. Access is power. Silence is psychologically uncomfortable, especially for people who rely on control. Because silence removes certainty. And the human brain hates uncertainty. Your absence forces people to sit alone with their thoughts. No reassurance. No reaction. No emotional access. And in many cases, that becomes louder than confrontation ever was. So how do you create distance without becoming cold? First, stop over-explaining yourself. You don't need everyone to agree with your boundaries. Second, reduce emotional reactivity. Manipulative people survive through emotional chaos. Calmness removes their leverage. Third, limit access. Not everyone deserves your constant attention. Scarcity changes perception. Fourth, redirect energy toward yourself. Build discipline. Build purpose. Build emotional control. Because the stronger your inner world becomes, the less external manipulation affects you. Most people think power is forcing others to understand them. But real power is no longer needing to chase understanding. Some people will never respect your words, but they will notice your absence. They will notice when your energy is no longer available. They will notice when your attention disappears. And sometimes, the strongest message you can send is silence. Distance is not always about leaving people behind. Sometimes, it's about finding yourself again. Have you ever noticed people changing after you stop giving them constant access? One of the most effective ways to maintain psychological power is learning how to create healthy emotional distance without unnecessary conflict. The first step is reducing emotional reactivity. Manipulative people often feed on immediate responses, explanations, or emotional outbursts. The calmer and less reactive you become, the less psychological control they have over you. Another important strategy is limiting access. Not everyone deserves constant communication, emotional availability, or unrestricted attention. Delayed responses, shorter conversations, and controlled availability naturally shift power dynamics. Scarcity increases perceived value. It's also important to stop over-explaining yourself. Many people weaken their position by constantly defending their decisions. Quiet confidence creates more authority than endless justification. When you stop seeking validation, people begin reassessing your importance. Creating physical and mental boundaries matters as well. Spend less time around draining individuals. Protect your routines, focus, and emotional energy. Distance is not just physical separation, it is emotional independence. Silence can also be a powerful tool. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every manipulation deserves confrontation. Sometimes refusing to engage removes the reward manipulative people are seeking. Finally, redirect your energy towards self-growth instead of emotional battles. People become harder to manipulate when they build purpose, discipline, confidence, and emotional control. The stronger your internal stability becomes, the less external chaos can influence you. Distance is not about punishment. It is about preserving peace, clarity, and self-respect. Comment below. Have you ever experienced the power of distance? For more videos, please subscribe.